Ever feel like legal stuff is full of surprises? Like you need some sort of secret decoder ring to figure it all out.
Well, you're in the right place.
Today, we're tackling capacity to contract.
Basically, who can actually make a real deal, legally speaking?
Right, not just like, promising your friend a cookie for their bike.
Exactly. It gets interesting. So, capacity. It's the law's way of making sure everyone's on the same playing field.
Like everyone understands what they're getting into.
Exactly. Making sure everyone's playing fair and knows the rules of the game.
So not just anyone can walk up and sign a contract for anything.
Well, legally, it's not always that simple. There are protections.
I mean, I can't trade my vintage action figure collection for a month's worth of pizza if the other person thinks I'm offering a car, right?
You're on the right track. The law gets that not everyone understands contracts the same way. That's where this defense comes in. Protects people.
Okay, now I'm hooked. Where do we even start?
Let's start simple. With age. It's a classic capacity head-scratcher.
Right, like everyone knows teenagers can't just sign a lease for an apartment.
Exactly. But legally speaking, what makes those contracts iffy?
Okay, yeah, why is that?
It's all about this legal term, voidable.
Voidable.
Until they're 18, any contract a minor signs, it can be voided. The court says they don't have the capacity to make those big decisions.
So it's not automatic, though, right? They have to actually take action, choose to void it.
You got it. It's about giving minors that safety net. They're still learning the ropes,
Makes sense. Responsibility and all that. But what about when age isn't the issue? What if someone, say, has a harder time understanding because of a mental condition?
That's where it gets even trickier. That's mental incompetence as a defense. Courts look at two main situations.
Two situations. Okay.
First one, imagine someone who just can't grasp what the contract even means. Like they mix up money for candy, something like that.
So if I tried to sell you this empty water bottle right here for $1,000 and you were totally serious about it.
You'd be right to be skeptical. That could be a sign of a capacity issue. See, in that scenario, they can't really consent to the terms, not truly.
Wow. Okay. And the second situation.
Second one, someone gets the words of the contract, but because of their condition, can't act reasonably about it. And here's the kicker. The other party should have known something was up.
So it's like if someone with a known mental condition agreed to sell their house for $5, that wouldn't fly, right? It'd be obvious something wasn't right.
Exactly. It's all about fairness, making sure no one's being taken advantage of. And there's this case, Heights Realty.
Oh, is this the one with the elderly woman and her property? That one always gets me.
That's the one. This case is like the textbook example of how important evidence is in these situations.
So her family stepped in, right?
Yeah.
They said she wasn't in her right mind when she signed her property away.
Exactly. They argued she was confused about her finances, even basic stuff about her own life.
And the court agreed.
They did. That's why Heights Realty is so important. Shows this defense isn't just talk, it protects people.
Wow. That's reassuring. So it's not just about age then?
Nope. Heights Realty proved that. Age isn't the only factor when figuring out someone's ability to contract.
That's a relief to know. There's legal backing, for people who are vulnerable. Okay, so we've covered age, mental competence. What about something maybe a few listeners had experience with? Intoxication. Can you really back out of a contract just because you had a few too many?
The intoxication defense. It's not as simple as it sounds.
Right. It's not a get-out-of-jail-free card after a wild night.
You got it. For intoxication to be a valid defense, the court needs two things. First, could the intoxicated person even understand the contract? Were they so far gone they couldn't grasp the basics?
So, agreeing to buy a car for 10 times its value because you were seeing double doesn't exactly sound like a sound mind, right?
Exactly. And that leads us to the second part. Did the other person know, or should they have known, about the intoxication? That's where it gets interesting.
Okay, so let me get this straight. If someone, knowing their friend is 3 sheets to the wind, gets them to sign a terrible deal, that's not going to hold up.
You're catching on. A great example is Irvin v. Hosanna Ministry. This case really put the intoxication defense on the map.
This is the rehab center one, right?
That's the one. So the rehab center, they tried to enforce a waiver that was signed by someone who was under the influence at the time.
Wow. And the person who signed it, they said they were in no state to understand what they were agreeing to.
Exactly.
And the court, they actually agreed.
They did. They said the rehab center should have known, plain and simple. This case, it set a huge precedent for intoxication and contracts.
So it's not just about being intoxicated. It's about whether someone took advantage of the situation.
Exactly. It comes back to fairness, right?
Yeah.
Contracts shouldn't be made under pressure or when someone's clearly not in their right mind.
Makes you think twice about those late-night online purchases. But in all seriousness, this is fascinating. But it does make me wonder, if these defenses exist to protect people, what can we do to make sure our agreements are solid? Avoid these capacity issues in the first place, both for ourselves and the people we're making agreements with.
That's the million-dollar question, and it shows why understanding capacity is so important. It's bigger than just legal battles. It's about making agreements responsibly, being aware. It's common sense.
So being proactive,
Mhm.
recognizing red flags early.
Exactly. Talk to each other, ask questions, clear up any confusion, make sure everyone's on the same page before signing anything.
So good communication can prevent a lot of headaches down the line.
Absolutely. This is especially crucial when dealing with, say, someone younger, more vulnerable, or someone who's easily influenced.
Looking out for each other, basically. Making sure everyone's comfortable and in the know.
Yes. And here's a pro tip. If you're unsure about someone's capacity, maybe they seem confused, overly emotional, not all there, don't sign anything. Wait until things are clearer.
Better safe than sorry, especially with legal stuff.
100%. And that goes both ways. If you're the one signing and you feel pressured, not sure about something, take your time. Get legal advice. It's your right to understand what you're getting into.
It's like that old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Exactly. And the best part? You don't need a law degree. Just a little awareness and the willingness to ask questions can make all the difference.
I love that. Well, this has been eye-opening. We've gone from clueless to contract savvy, all thanks to you.
Happy to help. Knowledge is power, right? Especially with contracts.
So true. Well, on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive on capacity to contract. Remember, everyone, a fair agreement. That's one where everyone's aware, informed, and capable of understanding what they're agreeing to.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay contractually empowered.
Yeah.
So we all need to be like amateur contract lawyers now. No more finding things blindly.
Think of it more like having a cheat sheet.
Okay, I like
Yeah.
that better.
Even a little knowledge about capacity. It's empowering. Helps you spot problems before they blow up.
An ounce of prevention, right?
Exactly. You don't need a law degree. Just open your eyes, ask some questions. It goes a long way.
This has been awesome. We went from clueless to, like, contract ninjas.
I like that. Contract ninjas.
All thanks to you.
Anytime. Glad to help.
So, to wrap up our deep dive on capacity to contract,
Remember, folks,
a good agreement is one where everyone knows what's up, right? Informed, aware, no one's being tricked.
well said. Couldn't agree more.
Until next time, everyone stay safe, stay informed, and watch out for those contracts.